Hey guys, this is Dr. Dwayne Wood again, and I am so excited to be back with another episode of our Physician Entrepreneur series. And if you remember, we are continuing to base our talks for this series on a book by Dr. Una called The Entree MD Method. The Entree MD Method. If you've not already done so, go back and check out the previous episodes. We've got some exciting stuff that we're going to be talking today about, because this is hey, here's the way the rubber meets the road. Okay. We've been talking about the physician as an entrepreneur. We've been talking about how to get back that spark that you had when you went to medical school, when you imagined what life was going to be like as a physician. Some of us have gotten to the place where things are not quite what we expected. Or here's another thing. Things may be what you expected, but you just think that there's more that you would like to do with your life, and more that you would like to do in the community. And so we want to spend some time talking today about how do we proceed with that. And today we are very excited. I am very excited because I'm going to be talking about some practical things. How do we come up with ideas? How do we come up with ideas of where we're going to do, what space we're going to be in? Okay, that's what we're going to be spending some time with today. And let me go ahead and just pop up this graphic, because this will give us the list of things that we're going to be talking about today. Where do we get the ideas from, right? That's the question. Where do we get the ideas from that we want to bring into the space, into consciousness? Maybe it's already in your head, right? Maybe you don't have anything in your head, but you would like to be able to expand what you do, right? Sometimes you feel like you're stuck. Maybe things just, I know this is going just like I thought it would, but I want to do more. And so how do we begin looking at and finding things to do more? That's what we're going to be talking about today. And we can jump right into it. Now, once again, we believe that each of us is creative and that we come whole and complete, right? That's the first thought. That we are worth the mental power. We're worth the mental I don't want to say gymnastics, but the time and the effort that we're putting in, right, to be able to move to the next level. Remember, here we're always in educating, we're empowering, and we're encouraging you to take charge of your health and life and go to the next level. Okay, that's what we want to do. And as we're talking about these things, I want you to remember that you are worth it. Remember that you are not just a physician, that you are not just the sum of what you do, right? That you can be creative. And we talked before about expanding your mind, expanding your education, learning, immersing yourself in the space that you want to move into, right? Surrounding yourself with people who begin to speak into you, and surrounding yourself with a support system, right? We've talked about all those things. So now how do we go about thinking about and coming up with something? Let's assume that you're out there and you're watching this and you say, okay, let's go through this process. Let me pull this first question up, right? So what are some problems that you've already solved, whether for yourself or for your patients? That's the first place to start. Sometimes we're trying to come up with these grandiose, unique items, right? And that's great, because those, and we'll talk a little bit about those in a little later. But what is it that you are currently doing that you've already solved the problem for yourself or solved the problem for your patients? Maybe you have developed a new treatment, right? Maybe you've developed a new lotion. Maybe you've developed a new idea. Maybe you have an idea for a piece of, if you're in surgery or you're doing procedures, you're like, oh, this would be a good thing to have or to do or to change. And maybe you've already developed that. Maybe you've already drawn it out. Maybe you already have mocked it out. Maybe you are already using it in your practice. That's the perfect place to start. And maybe it's right now just in your circle. right? Maybe there are people who know about it. Maybe they don't know about it. Maybe just the patients who know about it. Maybe you're just using it in your family. Why not bring that out? And you may think, oh, that's just this little thing. That's not going to be a big deal. Now, it's not going to be a big deal until it becomes a big deal, right? So remember that those ideas that you have, those are wonderful places where you can begin now sharing that. And we talked about the community. That's where the community comes in, where you find a coach, find a school, find some people who are like-minded, people who are progressive, people who are wanting to do more things. And then now we can begin working on your idea. So number one, what have you solved for yourself and for patients, right? Now, let's go back to talking about your practice, right? Where you are, your space where you are. Maybe you have a private practice. Maybe you're working in a combined practice. Maybe you're working in a practice that's owned by a hospital or some other entity, right? Within that space, you can expand. You can make that space different than it is. Maybe you want to offer a different brand of your service. Maybe you want to do things a little differently. I'll tell you a little story. And this one almost caused me to not do the things that I wanted. I remember I years ago, we had a patient who came in, and I'm an endocrinologist, so I do diabetes. And if you listen to all of my diabetes talks, my diabetes treatment may sound a little different than what you normally hearing, right? Now, the concept, the goals are all the same. And I had a patient who evaluated me, and he said, well, Dr. Wood, he has, ideas about diabetes that are different than anybody else I've ever heard, right? And he was upset, right? He said, well, don't go to see Dr. Wood. And do you know what I did? Yeah, I changed what I was doing so that I could be like everybody else. Yes, that's what I did. And it took me a while to realize that the thing that made me who I was, the thing that made me special, the thing that made patients come to me was the fact that my concepts were getting results, but it was different. But we've been so trained to fall in line with everybody else, right? That I almost missed that opportunity. And so I don't want you to miss the opportunity. If you have an idea, perfect time for you to begin working on that. So what are some things that you've done that you've solved the problem for someone already, right? So that is, you've solved the problem. The next one is, what skills or certifications have you had or have you gotten? Okay. What skills have you learned? Maybe there is a special thing in your field that nobody around you is doing. Maybe there's some certification that you went away and you got, right? So a lot of physicians are now going into the coaching space. Did you get certified as a coach? Did you learn, and one of the things Dr. Una talks about in the book, are you certified on your electronic medical records? And can you be a resource, not just for your practice, but for the hospital, for other practices where you are? Can you be the expert in that area? Is that a service you can do? Notice that's still allied within medicine, but it's a little twist on that, right? So you can be the EMR expert for whatever EMR that is. Is there something in your space that that nobody in your city is doing? Right? Maybe nobody is doing that particular procedure, whether it's an ablation, right? For instance, the thyroid, right? Nobody's doing the thyroid ablations in your area, right? You be the one. You be the expert in that. Perfect place, right? That you can begin building. Here in our city, there is a physician that a lot of people know, or several physicians actually, but one in particular who's a developer. Has nothing to do with medicine. One of the most successful developers in our area. Okay. But that is a space that you can go into. Maybe you are a financial person. Maybe you are able to help physicians know what to do with their money. I know I want somebody to help me figure out what to do with my money, right? And so you can be a resource because you've traveled that road, or you've gotten some special skills. You've been looking at that. So don't negate that, right? The third one is, what do you love to do that you would do for free? That's your passion, right? What are some things that you say, well, yep, I'm surprised that they're paying me for this, right? Or it doesn't have to be in medicine, right? Something else, maybe at your church, maybe in your community, maybe in some other venue other than in your office. And you're like, man, I would do this. I would do this for free. That's a passion. And if you bring that passion to it, the question then becomes, how do we monetize it? Okay. And we'll talk a little bit about that in a minute. But very, very important. So that's the third question, right? What would you do that you love to do, even if they didn't pay you? Like, I would teach, right? And a lot of us are teachers by nature, right? So a lot of us, we're in medicine and we love to educate, right? Love to show people things. Like, I would talk about anything. Give it to me. Yeah, I'm good. Right? Put me in front of a mic and let's go. Okay. So that's one of my gifts. One of my gifts is just the love for education and the ability to take whatever it is that I'm handed and to be able to work with people to simplify that, to get people to understand. Okay. So you have a passion. There's something there that may make you excited, something that you love to do. And you say, well, they don't have to pay me for that. But remember, we are looking for payment though, right? So, so just make sure that we keep that in mind. Okay. And then, are you able to do something better, faster, or cheaper? Right? Are you able to do something better, faster, or cheaper? If you can, and it could be that it's exactly the same thing that everybody else is doing in terms of getting the result, but you can do it better. You can do it faster. You can do it cheaper. Right? Remember that easy button that everybody keeps talking about? Yeah. Do you have an easy button for something that's in your industry? Do you have an easy button for something that everybody wants to do? Have you figured that out? Are you able to do it cheaper than other people? If you can, perfect place to find an idea. Beautiful, beautiful, right? So don't negate those things. And sometimes we in our spaces, we're like, oh yeah, that's not a big deal. But it can be a huge deal. And being able to say, hey, I can do it. Yeah, come to me. Right, I can make it faster, better. It's kind of like the $6 Million Man, right? We can make him faster, stronger. Yeah. Okay, I'm telling my age, but that's okay. All right, and then what makes you mad or sad? What makes you emotional? Right? Are there things out there that you see that you think, man, that really tugs at my heart? Or that makes me mad that that's happening, right? Perfect place to begin looking to see, hey, is there something in this space? Is there something there that I can use? Because I'm already creative. How do I lend my creative talents? How do I lend my creative ability and my drive and my passion and my emotions to that particular thing? Because if you can do that, then that's a perfect place again to get an idea of one of the things that you can potentially do as a business, as a place to begin starting, so that you can begin living life or practice medicine on your own terms. Beautiful, beautiful. Now, here's a question. What if, you take that one off the screen, what if you have lots of things? Maybe you have one in each of those questions, one in each of those areas that we just talked about. Well, we got to pick the best one. We got to pick, and when I say the best one, not necessarily the best idea, but the one that we think we can implement. Do some research, find out whether those are things that are that they will fly, right? And don't listen to the naysayers. Let me first start there, right? Now, don't don't go crazy, but there are people that you will share your idea with that say, oh, that's not going to work. Those are not the people that you want to listen to. You want to listen to credible people, right, that have your best interest at heart, that see the vision, right? That, yeah, okay, we can try this. And once again, we are in the process of making this thing, birthing this thing, growing this thing, right? And frankly, there are some times where you have got to say, I believe in it. You may not believe in it, but I believe in it. And you got to go for it. Okay. So if you have multiple, right, sit down and look at them and come up with, okay, do some description, do some research in the space where you're trying to do. Because what you want to do is you want to make sure that you begin with one thing and you want to get that going before you begin adding other things, right? Put your energies into beginning, starting a particular thing, and then go from there. Okay. So that's if you have more than one. Now, there's a concept that Dr. Una talks about in her book, and I want to bring up a graphic here. Let's see, because we want, as we're thinking about the items, the ideas that we have, right? How do we evaluate them? So let me pull this up here really quickly. Okay, so things are going to generally fall into, and this, if you look, is an XY axis basically, right? So so whatever you're doing, whatever the thing is, whatever the service, whatever the product, whatever the feature is, right? It's going to be either low priced or high priced, right? You're going to either get a lot of clients or few clients, right? So 4, it's a 2x2 grid, right? So I want you to cast your eyes into the lower right-hand corner, right? Low with many clients. So low price with many clients. That means whatever that service is, whatever that product is, if the cost of it, if we're presenting it to the public for a low cost, that means that we've got to have a lot of people get it or subscribe or purchase or come for us to make money. And by the way, let me pop back up to this screen and let me make sure that everybody understands, right? So there is nothing wrong with providing service and making money. Go back and listen to one of the other videos that we did, right? Let me say that. There's nothing wrong with providing a service and making money. Okay? So I'm talking about money, right? Finances, right? Income, right? Because there are times where you can't do the things you want to do if you don't have the income. So I understand, right, that we went to medical school and we're taking care of patients and that's in our heart, right? But let's make sure that we are talking plainly about some of the other things that we don't always talk about, right? Because physicians, we tend not to want to talk about money, right? We almost feel like it's dirty. Oh, thank you. You know, I'll take some of it. Right. So let's not be there and let's not be in that space. We've already changed our mindset about that. Okay. So as we're going through this section, I want you to keep that in mind, that we are talking about helping people. We're all talking about providing a service, but we're also talking about how can we be financially how can it be financially beneficial for us? Okay. All right. Let's go back to that. Right. So right lower corner, right? So those are our low services, right? Low price services. And we've got to have a lot of people buy it, subscribe to it, come to it for us to make money. If you look at the left lower, that's low services and few clients, right? That one, that's your heart project. That's the thing that you do just cause. Okay. Now, that may be beneficial in terms of you feeling fulfilled and feeling like you're giving back to the community. But once again, we're talking about making or getting finances, talking about making income, talking about being financially free, right? So low price with few clients, not necessarily the best thing. Now, in the upper left corner, that's where we have those boutique things, right? So few clients, and those clients are paying high price, right? Now, you can make a lot of money there, okay? But you've got to realize where that is, right? So few clients with high price. And then the sweet spot kind of is many clients with high price. So a lot of people coming and the price is high, okay? Or cost, right? So this just kind of gives you a perspective as you're starting to begin thinking about the ideas that that are going through your head, right? And I did a video recently for talking about problem solving, right? And most of us are good problem solvers, right? In our space. So remember the steps to problem solving, right? Identify the problem. Identify it well. Okay. In this case, hey, we feel stuck. We want to live better. We want to have a better practice. We want to live on our own terms. We want to practice on our own terms, right? We got this idea, right? So practice on our own terms. Come up with some possible solutions, right? Start a new practice. Get into real estate. Start investing. Learn how to do coaching. Market one of my skills. Open a new office, a new satellite, or get some whatever it is, right? And notice I threw a bunch of stuff in there, and some of that had nothing to do with medicine. Write a book. All of those things. So come up with a solution, okay, or options for solution. Pick the best one. Pick the best one. Come up with an action plan based on the best one. And then implement it. Try it. See if it works. If it doesn't work, you've already got a list of other things that you can go back and do, right? Because remember, this is an iterative process. This is not one of those things in medicine, right? Because remember, one of the things we talked about before is the idea that in medicine, making a mistake, you can't, right? We're taught you can't make a mistake. But this process allows you to come up with an idea, implement the idea, go for it, go full force for it, right? Because you got to put it all. You got to put your energies in it. You got to put your mind in it. You've got to put your talents in it. Right? Go for it. Don't just dip your toe in it. And people say, I'm going to try it. Well, don't try. Where's that from Star Wars? Right? Yoda? Do or don't do. But there's no try. Let's do it. All right. So come up with your idea. This is a way of doing that, right? How to begin working on getting those ideas and getting them out there. So I'm glad that I was able to get through this, right? Pay attention. Keep an eye out for our next video. We're continuing this series, right? Here, I help to empower, help to encourage, help to educate you to take charge of your health, right? Remember the book, and it's also now on audiobook. So let me pull that back a little bit. The Entre MD method is what we are basing our discussion for the series on right now. And there's an audiobook, there's the book, go out and get it. If you would like to work with me, if you would like to have that accountability that you were talking about, right? Changing the mindset, getting unstuck, go ahead and book a consult with me, DwayneWoodMD.com. DwayneWoodMD.com. We would love to be a part of your getting unstuck, a part of your solution as you move into the space where you begin practicing medicine on your own terms. Thank you much. We'll see you at the next visit. We'll see you at the next video.